Master, are you ready to give your life for the truth?
Okay, so maybe if you don't count last chapter as chapter 3 with chapter 0 and everything, then this would be like old Danganronpa games where I don't like chapter 3. Now I do like this chapter, but just not as much as the other chapters. With all that said, let's start with the bad, because there isn't as much, but it did bring this chapter down a bit. This stupid ass bomb mini game sucks. Maybe I'm just bad at video games, and I'm really that stupid. But I played the first one, and it made sense. And then afterwards, I was just guessing. I feel like none of this made any sense and nothing really correlated to each other. But maybe you guys know, and if you do, please explain, because this was pretty bad. Next, these characters are pretty dumb. Last chapter, we got a lot of cool and interesting characters where we felt bad for them, and the villains were also really cool. These characters were just plain at best. The Peacekeepers were just some crazy girl and this big dude that just grunts the whole time. And there's nothing I'm getting from them. With Yuma, he was intimidating and crazy, but still calculated. He wasn't just an idiot, he knew what he was doing, and you know that he isn't someone to mess with. She's just crazy, and she comes out of nowhere, so I don't really care. Then you have the Resistance, and most of them are just bad. We'll start with Iruka because she has some major problems. At first, I was thinking she might be pretty cool, and maybe I jinxed it, and if I did, I apologize. Because it just goes downhill from there. I watch anime with characters like Mayuri and Orochimaru, and I had to say, she's on their tier or just downright creepy. Then you have Icardi, and he's a terrible villain. Nothing interesting about him, he's just a standard villain where he wants to leave Conrad Ward, and he did all of this just to leave and get some money. Like, really? The last few chapters, the villains at least were somewhat interesting, or like the last chapter, some of my favorite characters in the entire game. But this chapter just doesn't have that. Servan and Margola are just whatever. I don't hate them, but I don't like them either. The one character I do like is Shachi, the leader of the group, but he dies. So that's nice, I guess. Shinigami is the same as last time, still acting like the jealous girlfriend she was in the last chapter, and is nowhere close to being funny. If anything, it's just more annoying. And then also, we get to the Mystery Labyrinth, which was handled really weird this time around. Usually, the Mystery Labyrinth is used to help us not only understand what happened, but to also get out of a tight spot. Unless you're talking about Chapter 0, but that was Yuma using the power for the first time, and it's the introduction, so I'll let that slide. This chapter, we do the Mystery Labyrinth, and not only was it so painfully obvious who the murderer was, but the Mystery Labyrinth didn't matter in the end because Icardi wasn't there. So what the fuck was the point of us doing this if it doesn't matter? And just to prove that it's painfully obvious, Margola has an alibi since he left right after we talked to him. He even defends Servan, and I didn't think about it immediately, but then I thought to myself, he's pretty short, so how did he shoot him perfectly horizontal through the head like that? That wouldn't make any sense now, would it? Then we learned that Iruka made the gun for him, and early on in the Mystery Labyrinth, we talk about how he's left-handed, so that's why she made the gun the way that it is. So if she knew this, she wouldn't place the gun in the right hand, unless she's really fucking stupid. So with process of elimination, it's Icardi. You see, it's not that hard. Even the high school girls from last chapter were smarter than him. Now we had the good stuff. And we had some great setup in this chapter. Fubuki as a character is pretty cool, and I hope she finishes a potential character arc, and she doesn't think of herself as useful to the group without her forte, which by the way, I call the fact that she would have some broken ability, and being able to go back in time, even if it's a small amount, is so broken as all hell.
Ooh, Jason Bourne ain't got shit on me.
Masked Dude, otherwise known as Kagasuchi, I hope I'm saying that right. He's a pretty interesting character, and he does help the group get a new submarine and helps against the Peacekeepers. But with that said, I'm still on the fence on whether or not he's an ally or the secret final villain. Also, he took a page out of Pennywise the Clown and flew down with some balloons. It's kind of funny because the game references Pennywise in chapter 1, so I'm gonna call this foreshadowing. Also, Vivian wants to kill Yuma as well. Yeah, he wants to murder him, or at least I think he does. He starts to figure out that Yuma has a contract with Shinigami, so he may do something awesome next chapter, so I can't wait for that. And speaking of Yuma, this chapter was just pretty much done with being a detective after the submarine blew up and his confidence was gone. I love that we're still seeing him go through so much internal struggle. It reminds me of Ichigo from Bleach, and it's one of the reasons I love him as the main character. So I really can't wait to see what happens with Yuma, at least for his whole character arc. And Kirumi comes back! And not only that, has a really nice scene with Yuma at the end. It's showing how much he truly admires him, and like I said last time, she instills confidence back into him. And that's really cool that she does that. She even helps the investigation with the group and everything, and it's pretty much just a part of the gang at the end. So, that's great, I really like that. Oh, and I also love this.
Harold? Take this!
What?
This chapter overall for the story was fine. The main point was Shachi and the rest of the resistance wants to start making moves to stop the peacekeepers. It just sucks that I don't care for the characters as much, so it makes it harder to care for what they want to do. But I think this helps set up for everything later on. Yomi wants to take down the master detectives, we still need to learn about the homunculus, Vivia is going after Yuma, and this chapter just brings so many things together, and I personally can't wait for what might happen in the next chapter, or even the chapter after that. I give this chapter a solid 7 out of 10. Not bad, but I was expecting more from it, so hopefully it gets better than this. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and let me know what you think about this chapter, and I will see you guys next time. See ya.